Every town has a ghost story that's been passed down through the generations. But what if those legends were true? My name is Miranda Young, and I'm the Ghost Biker. Hey everyone. I hope you're having a great night. Here we are mid-July, and I guess almost mid-July. And we're back here on the Ghost Biker Garage. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I know we didn't have a show last week because it just happened to hit there on 4th of July. And we were, really busy. We put in some really long days there at the jail. So we didn't have a show last week, but we did the week before that. We had Mr. Larry Eisler on from Small Town Productions, as well as Haunted Expeditions, Expedition Entity, and we had a great discussion on AI and the paranormal. It was a lot of fun. It's a very timely topic, and we really enjoyed it. So I hope you did too, everyone. We had some great participation. So again, we want to thank you all for coming on and watching and participate with that. We've been coming off of a very, very long week there at the historic Scott County Jail. We were very busy. Both Chris and I were pulling double shifts. Starting on Thursday, we put in, it was about a 14-hour day. And then we had back-to-back investigations at the jail and the Village of Historic Rugby on Friday and Saturday night, as well as different lantern tours there at the jail and also there at Historic Rugby. And of course, a couple guided ghost hunts too. So we were both working day and night shift. Also had some great day tours. We had some people in town for the week, and they brought family in. We had some people who it was so cool to talk to some of the different folks who were there visiting the jail. They were in visiting family that had ties to the jail back during their childhood, and one of them was a 81-year-old lady, and it was cool to hear her stories and hear her ties. So a lot of busyness going on. This weekend's going to be just as busy with some back-to-back investigations, and just really looking forward to that. If you tuned in during the first hour there, not the first hour of this show, but an hour ago there on the historic Scott County Jail for the Jailhouse Informant podcast, Chris and I came on. We recapped some of the stuff that we experienced at the jail during our guided ghost hunts, some of our lantern tours, and it was a fun podcast. We didn't have a guest, but it was great talking and catching up. And so I know a lot of you were there in the audience. Just want to say hello to the folks who are watching tonight. We've got Miss Janet Alm, all the way from Arizona here, watching the show again. It's good to see you again, and good evening to you. Hello, Mr. Bob Burnell. It's always great to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in earlier. Now, so if you were following my page, we did something. Chris and I did something really cool with our friend Susan Purcell, who's often in the audience there. We did something with her on Monday and Tuesday that if you follow my personal page, we did a bunch of live updates from there. But just want to show a couple pictures. We had the opportunity to participate in the McKay's Ultimate Road Trip, and that was a lot of fun. McKay's is a used book and music store here in East Tennessee, and not just East Tennessee, but East and Middle Tennessee, as well as Western North Carolina. And they were celebrating their 50th birthday. And they put this ultimate road trip together to where if you visited all 5 of their stores, their locations are in Mabane, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Knoxville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Nashville, Tennessee. It was a total of 570 miles from store to store, and you had about 15 hours to complete that. We logged a little over 1,000 miles. I think it was like 1,014, because basically we we started out on Monday night, loaded up in the car, and had a ton of road snacks and headed out to Mabane, or I think they pronounce it Mabane, North Carolina. And so it was about a 5.5 hour drive from where we are here in Huntsville, Tennessee. And so we got over there late on Monday night. And then on Tuesday, we headed out, and they were a little unexpected. They ended up having about 10,000 people participating in the event. And if you visited all of the different stores and you were able to do it within those 15 hours, then you received $800 store credit, which in a used book and CD store goes a long way. And so McKay's has been somewhere that I've enjoyed going to since I was a child. I'm kind of an audiophile and absolutely love music. And so it was cool to do that. I think I went yesterday and spent about $50 of that $800 credit yesterday on CDs. So, which again goes a long way when you're buying 95-cent CDs. So, but anyways, just a few pictures of us in front of some of the different stores. The longest line, we were very fortunate. The longest line that we had to wait in was about 45 minutes. And luckily, I think we ended up, we were able to do it in right about 11 hours. So that was really cool. We started out about 7:30 and we finished up, I believe it was right around 8:30, Eastern time there. So anyways, but as you can see from the pictures, the stores are absolutely huge. And so, so it was a lot of fun. You also got McKay's swag, their 50th birthday swag. So it's a lot of fun. It's really cool to participate in. And of course, like I said, we were able to do all this live. And so we appreciate the ones that watched and participated in the lives with us. But like I said, we've got a great show tonight. We're not going to keep our guest waiting or keep you waiting. We're going to go ahead and get to tonight's guest because she is a very dear friend of mine. We had the honor of meeting, I guess it was in September of 2022. We were able to meet there at the Deep South Paracon, and we became fast friends. And so you sometimes see her there in the audience, commenting and interacting during the shows, and then also you've seen her in some of my video and photo posts that I do. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on my good friend and Miss Zombie Extraordinaire herself, Miss Sonya Thompson. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been a couple years since I've been on, so I think the
Yeah.
last time was kind of chilly. I went back and kind of looked at it a little bit because I didn't want to wear the same shirt. So I was like, man, I had a sweatshirt on, so it was cold. Yeah,
It was actually November. Yeah, we met there in September. I guess it was either August or September there
it's
for
September.
Deep South Paracon there in Alabama. And I believe you were my first guest to come on after my season 5 aired.
Right? Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So so that was really cool, and have become good friends since.
Yes, and it's been a blessing friendship. I'm so blessed to have you and been able to meet Chris and Tiffany and some of your other
Yeah.
friends and stuff. So it's been really amazing. So I hope we get to continue to do some more fun and cool things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I introduced you as zombie extraordinaire, but you're so much more than that when it comes to your acting and your skills and abilities. We're going to be showing some of your stuff that you've done, some of your work here in a little bit, a little later on the show. We're going to show some of that because you provided me some great clips. But go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself and how you got started in this really interesting job that you got.
Okay, well, I mean, I, it's kind of funny because when my daughter and granddaughter were just here, they were visiting from the Netherlands, and we sat at the Methodist church, and I had actually went to kindergarten there. and I was an angel in the play there. So I told them that's how it all started, being an angel in the play at the kindergarten for the church. So, but in actuality, I mean, as far as the film and TV, I didn't get started in that till around 06, 07,
Okay.
2006 or 7. And I was mainly doing it for my daughter. My daughter, great actress, singer, I mean, dancer. She's very talented, and she was doing a lot of musical theater. And one of my friends was doing a movie over in Athens, Georgia. And I just asked him, I'm like, hey, you mind if I bring my daughter? Because I want her to see that end of it. And
Mhm.
so we went, and they immediately put she and I right in front of the cameras. Barry Corbin was there. Sarah Rue from Pearl Harbor was there. Desmond Harrington from Ghost Ship was there. Um, gosh, I mean, there were so many names there. I was just like, wow, this is great. So we hung out with them for like
Mhm.
3 or 4 nights. And I still was working my regular job during the day. I was working a regular job during the day. So I was doing that at night, and I'm walking like a zombie. So maybe that's when that, started. Um, maybe I was destined. Um, but that's kind of how everything started. Like, I started out doing background acting, and the casting agency had thought that I had been doing it for a long time. And so they started calling me. And before I knew it, then I started getting some lines in some independent movies, and it just one thing led to another. I got an acting coach. I started taking more, like acting workshops and acting classes, and just anything I could to try to fulfill my new dream of being a film actress. And then all of a sudden, I got an agent. I had enough resume and enough experience where I was able to get a talent agent, and I've been with her now for about, gosh, maybe 15, 16 years, maybe 17. I don't know. It's been a
Okay.
while. Um, and then, and that's Rare Quality Models and Talent. And so then all of a sudden, I had a manager. Then I had a booking manager. I mean, everything's just kind of, I don't know, it's just crazy how it all just kind of started happening. But as far as the zombie work goes, I didn't really start that. I did this little independent called Night of the Jackals,
Mm.
and it was a lot of fun. And so I told the casting directors, I was like, hey, listen, I just did this little indie, you know, zombie vampire type film, and I played a zombie, and it was a lot of fun. So if you get any, movies or anything that need zombies, I'm your gal. Well, all of a sudden, I get an audition with Zombieland, and I show up to the audition, and there's all these people like stretching and doing all this, and come to find out they were all professional dancers.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm up against. And back in the day, in the 80s, I was a break dancer, so that actually is what helped me in the audition, and it also helped me on The Walking Dead. Um, so I went into the audition. Ruben Fisher, the director, completely loved me. I got booked the role of the lunchroom lady for Zombieland, and then they asked me to be part of the Zombieland training video. And I actually talked to Sony Pictures about possibly releasing that on its own,
Mhm.
or if they do like a I don't know if they release like the Zombieland 1 and 2 or something, maybe release that with it. I think that would be really kinda cool
Yeah.
because all the zombie actors had to watch that in order to be, to know how to move and everything for the movie. Um, so that was pretty cool. And so the next year then I got an email from the same casting directors, and they were like, "Hey, you've been booked on this show called The Walking Dead, and as a zombie." And I'm like, "Okay, here it goes." And I
Mhm.
had no idea that The Walking Dead was going to be so huge.
Yeah.
None of us did, and it was based on a comic book, a graphic novel, and so a few of us that were cast in it, we started reading some of those to kind of get a idea of what we were being a part of. And they held zombie school, and that was like one huge audition, and that's how they chose their 20 main hero zombies, and then everybody else was either featured extra or deep background. And there was only 150 of us to start with. So you know, but I thought it was pretty cool though. I mean, it's been a cool ride, a cool experience. But however, I have been typecast as, a zombie. So a lot of people don't realize that I have done other things. So that's the reason I wanted to send you like my acting reel and a few
Yeah.
other clips. That way people could see that I'm more than just a zombie, even though my website is professionalzombie.com. But my manager at the time suggested that I do that. And so I've just kept it because it is a unique website to, name to have. And so it's pretty cool. Um, but also they called me in, The Walking Dead called me in to be a promotional model. You just showed the cover of the Entertainment
Hmm.
Weekly, and they dubbed us the cover zombies. And so,
Okay.
yeah, because we were used on magazine covers and all this. There was only about 8 of us,
Hmm.
and so they used us on DVDs, T-shirts like this one I got on right now, um, billboards, magazine covers, DVD covers. I was in comic book issue 75 when they first started promoting the Walking Dead TV series, and there was only 4 of us zombies that were in comic book 75 with the main cast. So I was one of those 4. So that was pretty cool. And then we had a mention in comic book issue 100 from a fan, and he was talking about how great we were with the fans and stuff, and how appreciative he was of us. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so that was really neat. But yeah, being a promo model, I think, is what has gained me more um, success than my actual role in the show. Even though I had some good scenes and stuff,
Hmm.
these images that you're showing are like the iconic images of The Walking Dead, and so it's
Yeah. I was just going to say, and how cool for that to be the case, to go in and be a part of something there on the front end, during the first and second seasons, and essentially become a face of for the zombie side of that. Because now, I mean, anytime anything is mentioned when it comes to zombies, people think of The Walking Dead, because that's, I mean, yes, Zombieland is popular, and there's, Night of the Living Dead, all the older shows, but in our current culture, that's what, when you think of zombies, that's the show that people think of. So that's really cool to essentially be one of the faces of that.
It is, and this is me on right here on the shower curtain. Just another thing that that I'm on. It's crazy the stuff I'm on. I know I've repeated a couple of things a while ago, but I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy the things that I've learned. I mean, on like a coloring book for The Walking Dead, it's just calendars,
The
all sorts of
possibilities are
things.
endless,
Yeah,
that they can use it from, because if, like anything else, you can come up with a creative and clever idea and, you know, stick the face on it. I mean, I can't tell you how many Walking Dead tchotchkes and items and stuff you see somewhere, and it's like, wow, who would have thought of that?
this is true. This is so true. And I mean, they come up with some stuff. I mean, I've had plenty of fans throw some stuff my way, and a lot of them think it's kind of cool because they call me the OG, one of the OGs,
There you
because I
go.
was one of the originals, and it is pretty cool, because I got to talk to Frank Darabont. I got to work with Frank Darabont, and he's an award-winning director, and it was just a really cool experience. I mean, Zombieland was really a fun
Yeah.
to me, more fun experience than The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead was really long days,
Yeah.
and it was kind of miserable. The heat that we're experiencing right now is very similar to the heat we experienced back when we worked on season 1 of The Walking Dead, because the heat index was like 105 some days, and you've got long sleeves on, sweaters. Some people had on wool suits. You had on all these prosthetics and makeup and eye contacts in, and you had stuff in your hair. I mean, it was hot and miserable. And there was sometimes I just wanted to just lay down and just give in to it, just like, take me now. But it was it was kind of it it was even like on season 2, it was even really cold, like in November
Mm,
when we were filming. So I've experienced like the extreme heat and the
mhm.
extreme cold. And so, that was
Yeah.
confusing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we're going to get to some of the videos, especially, you've talked about the Zombieland video and the training videos and stuff. So we're going to get to some of that here in just a minute. Just want to remind everyone, if you have any questions for Sonya, please put them there in the comment section. I know we've got one right here that we're going to get to, but y'all just feel free to put them in there. And if you don't mind, please put them in all caps, just so I make sure that I don't miss them as we're going through. Nancy Weems says, "What was the movie that you loved doing most?"
Well, it was actually a web series called The Lumber Baron of Jasper County. And I played the role of Sam. And so it's based on, I don't know if you're familiar with Green Acres back in the day. Green Acres
Yeah.
had a painter on there called Ralph, and she would wear her hat round backwards, and she had her paint, So anyway, her name was Ralph, and so they based the director and writer of that web series based that character on Ralph, and I enjoyed every freaking minute working on that show. I did 2 seasons, season 2 and 3, and my acting coach, Candace Mabry, she was one of the leads in it, but she passed 2 years ago, 4 days
Mhm.
before Larry did. Um, so it's a funny little web series. If you've not seen it, check it out. He's also got a side series called Ask the Baron, and I did did one of those, and I was Sam the dog trainer, and I was going to teach my dog how to, so it was pretty cool because I got to, I guess, channel my inner redneck, and
Ah,
so I kept thinking about all my family reunions, my brother, you know, and so it was a that was a fun role. That was probably the my most favorite role that I've ever done. I love portraying Sam, the dog trainer. So
do you like doing the smaller? Because you've done the wide gamut of things, everything from working with the large productions like and the large companies like Walking Dead and some of the other movies that we listed there in the comments. Do you prefer kind of the smaller indie, more homegrown type stuff, or do you like the larger produced type shows?
I like both. I find that the the smaller ones, sometimes you end up jumping in a little bit and do a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
If somebody's out and you're not in the scene or something, you may hold the boom mic, or you may do the clapper board. But I do enjoy. I think the indie films are not as scary. Like,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, I've just got to impress myself,
Yeah.
but like when you're in the bigger, you want to make sure that I don't know, I feel like I've got to do better or something on the bigger productions, because it's like, okay, I got to impress these people. They're from LA. I got to show them that, that us actors out in Georgia are not hicks,
Mhm.
um, but at the same time, though, I enjoy working with the people from LA because the professionalism is really cool.
Yeah.
Um, because they're very organized. It's just like bam, bam, bam. And sometimes on the indies, it gets a little disorganized, gets a little hectic.
Yeah.
Um, you're sitting there and waiting on people to get there, and it's like, okay, if this was a bigger production, you would have already been sent home, or you wouldn't have even been accepted
Yeah.
at the door if you were late for set.
Time is
Um,
money.
it is. It really is.
Yeah.
And so, it's the dependability and reliability of everybody has to be there in order for things to work. And um, if you don't stay on task, then it's very easy to veer off path. And then all of a sudden, something that should have taken an hour to do is taking 3 hours to do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I've been on some smaller sets that have been just as professional as the larger sets, with the folks from LA and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but I do like doing indies, but it's
Yeah.
always good. as you know, recently which I signed an NDA. I
Mhm.
worked with NBC and Peacock on something, and man, it was awesome. It was really cool getting to work with these people, and their professionalism was just off the charts. And
Yeah.
I just, it just really, it was a cool opportunity, and I'll never ever forget that opportunity. So, and I
Well
can't wait to share with you guys in September. When this video comes out and everything. So it'll be
well,
pretty
first
cool.
off, congratulations on that. I know that, we kinda talked a little bit when you got that role, and, so I'm really excited for you to be able to reveal that, but that's awesome because and I gotta say kudos to you for taking these opportunities, because it is something that not everyone gets to do, and it is something that can be a little scary and intimidating to decide to jump into something like that. So kudos to you for trying something different and creating a really cool gig out of it.
Yeah, and I just want to add that, whether it's a small role or a big role, whether it's
Mhm.
for an indie or, the bigger, productions from LA, I treat each role the
That's right.
same. I don't No role is too big or too small. Because I put as much in the small roles as I do the big roles.
Mhm.
Because to me, every role is important,
That's
and
right.
because somebody's giving you a chance to do that role, I wanna do the best for that person that I can do,
Mhm.
and so I try to give it my all. I really do.
Yeah, and you never know where it will lead because it
No,
all builds, right? I mean, this, commercial that you do or this one role that you've got, that just leads to build towards something else and it just goes to show too that people really don't know where, once you get that role, where it's going to go and where it's going to take you.
that's right, and you don't know, and some of these indies, I've seen some indies, man, that was like a
Yeah.
$1,000 budget, and then all of a sudden, they're, like,
Winning
making
awards.
millions. Yeah, they're getting awards,
Yeah.
making millions of dollars off of it. So it's like now the actors might not be making millions of dollars, but the
Right.
production is, because if you agreed sometimes if you don't agree on residuals or anything like that, then, you know, and it all of a sudden goes big,
Mhm.
then all you got was that little bit of money they paid you, if they even paid you for the day,
Right.
and that's it. So you don't ever
Exactly.
know.
And, we've got a few more questions coming in, but before we get to those, because I know, because these questions are kind of going to lead us down a different path, talking a little
Okay.
bit more about the paranormal. But I want to show some of the videos that you've sent. So if you don't mind, do you have a preference which order I show in?
No, not really. Just kind of tell me, and I can set it up, or if it seems
Okay.
it needs to be set up.
Um, let's do your acting reel.
Okay.
So if you wanna set that up right quick, then I'll get it, get it set up here. I mean, it's probably
Well,
pretty self-explanatory.
it is, but it is just a few. I need to update it. I've been talking to my friend Jim about helping me update it and stuff, but because I need to put add some stuff to it. But um, it's got some of the stuff I've done, I guess back around 2017, something like that, but and before. But I try to do a good mix of different things so people could see um my acting skills in it, because I mean the real essentially is what a lot of casting agencies and directors and stuff look at in order to even give you a chance for an audition sometimes. So anyway,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Alright, I'll go ahead and get that queued up. Oh, sorry, got a cat jumping in my lap. There are cats everywhere here.
It heard your voice.
They did. Alright, sorry about that. Making sure I'm pulling up the right one here, because apparently I cannot see
Oh,
far
you
off.
need new
There we go.
glasses.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. All right. I'm gonna blow it up.
Can I use food stamps to buy a lottery ticket?
No, ma'am.
You mean the government won't pay for my lottery tickets?
Not the winning ones.
Here I was hoping for some change. This is goodbye, Jacob. You've lost both of your parents now. Losing me, that was your fault. When I leave here today, I am only going to have one son and one daughter. Goodbye, Jake. You're late. I know. Sorry. This is the second time this week, Cassandra.
I'm sorry. I've had a lot going on at school this week.
What would you have going on at school? I'll tell you what. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's what. I've told you for 3 days I wanted you up in the attic cleaning, and you have not been up there once.
It's dusty up there and hard for me to breathe.
Just another one of your piss-poor excuses. Just because I'm your foster mother does not mean that you can come in here and piddle around. Now, I want you up in that attic, and I don't want you to come down until it's time for the library to close.
Fine.
We've been over this already, Jana. They're our neighbors, and it's the Christian thing to do. So we're going. That's what. Get over it. Micah, leave her alone. Chloe, do you mind?
No, why must I always be the referee?
Because you're the oldest. Yeah, real old.
And the smartest. Come on, Forbes. But no one else is going down there?
We'll get it for us. All right, guys. I'll be right here. I don't want to take a chance of getting stuck in the mud.
Great.
Will you please behave?
Fine.
Chloe, watch your brother and your sister. Mind your manners.
I knew all the major players, and the feds knew that.
Get out of the car!
Put your hands on my feet! Put your hands on my feet! You have the right to remain silent.
So they tried to use my most precious things against me to talk. The two of you.
Them or him?
They wanted me to give up.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love, I love the, whoops.
I was just eating till I'm dead.
Whoops. Sorry about that. I was trying to get it off of full screen there. Yeah. So you've got several things, or you've done quite a bit since that too,
Yeah.
haven't you?
I have, but I've also done some stuff, before that, that
Yeah.
I had another acting role before this one, that I had up, but that one, the chronology movie is now called The Lost Day. Yeah, that's the one it's on Tubi, starring William Baldwin, Danny Trejo, and John James. It's got Scott Hamm from General Hospital. It's got Johnny Alonso from One Tree Hill. They were just awesome to work with. It's one of the movies, I think it's pronounced Encuentre, and that means in Spanish, it means find yourself. And that's the one where I was actually pulling Nancy Tickleton. She was actually on Law and Order, and that filmed up in Duluth at it filmed in the old jail. So I enclosed the bigger clip of that and everything, which you don't have to show, but it was an old jail.
Yeah. If you want me to show that, I've actually got that ready to queue up.
If you want, you can, but it's going to be basically kind of the same thing that we've already seen, just a little bit more of it. And it's so funny because the jail cell had the old keys. And so I remember practicing to make sure that I didn't mess up before we did the scene. And I just thought that was so cool. I was just like, I'm opening a jail, I'm closing a jail, I'm locking a jail, So when I was at your jail visiting, I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, I did this already. But yeah, it was in the basement where they now tore that down because they both wanted to build something else right there. But it was really cool being in the basement where the jail cells and stuff were at, and getting to do that. And it was pretty cool. And I remember the director, she was from Puerto Rico. Her name is Sonya Fritz, I believe. Anyway, she wanted me to do, and I know I've told you this story, but she wanted me to do a Southern accent all of a sudden. It's like, I said, I am. She says, well, no, I want you to do a Georgia accent. I'm like, I am. I'm from Georgia. This is, and she goes, no. And I said, would you like for me to do a Southern accent, more like a Savannah Southern? And she said, yes. So when I threw Nancy, I was like, enjoy your time. And, and she's like, yes, do it that way. So that's how I had to do that. And in the beginning of that little clip, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it, and I'm just kind of enjoy your time and walking off, So it's kind of funny. But yeah, and I'm trying to think, the lottery ticket customer in the beginning, that was a movie called More Than Diamonds. It was filmed in Greenville, South Carolina. So it was a Lost Day chronology. That was the working title. It was also filmed up in Greenville, South Carolina. And
Okay.
yeah, so that was the More Than Diamonds did very well in the Greenville theaters and stuff. It actually did better than Resident Evil for a week and a half. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, it had real good reviews. And so yeah, there was some good stuff. But anyway, yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. And I'm just looking through here. Like I said, we do have some questions up there that we'll get to here in just a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pull up, let's see, the behind the scenes.
Oh, that'd be
Uh,
perfect.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so just so you know, there you'll see me in these behind the scenes, but there's going to be a picture that is shown of a zombie, and as they're showing that picture, they say mad cow disease and syphilis. Well, that is me.
Okay.
And this is my continued joke. I don't know how many people can say that they've been compared to mad cow disease and syphilis, except for me. So it's like, all right, cool, score.
In this case, it's a compliment versus how I would probably compare someone to mad cow disease or syphilis is probably, that's the way I would sort of sometimes, put our choices in an election to be
Yeah,
choice
right.
between mad cow or syphilis. But, but in this case, it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I'll go ahead and pull that up. Let's see here. So bear with me just a second. All right. There we go.
Classic zombies. I don't want to retread any of the same ground with another zombie comedy. I think the less thinking and acting that the zombies do, the better. It should just be like pure ferociousness. Not the movement, rashness, scariness, face, and then the viciousness of everything. To me. Try to like sprinkle more than just people with like businessmen or jeans and t-shirts, and also having some actual real characters, like there's a fast food worker or some like LA stereotypes. If you watch the amusement park, you can kind of spot some of the zombie types. I also really wanted to ground it in reality, like find a real disease that could have evolved and taken over people to make them turn into this thing. So it's more of a viral based situation as opposed to an undead situation. We spent a lot of time researching, really discussing things like syphilis and mad cow.
There you go.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah. And Reuben Fisher was really great to work with. I enjoyed working with he normally directed music videos. This was his first debut of directing a movie. So he was fantastic to work with. One of my most favorite directors to work with is Reuben Fisher. And so that was really cool to get to work with him. So cool.
And to be part of the training, I mean, that's really cool too. That shows you're doing something right.
And the thing is, when they called me in that day, they're like, "Hey, we want you to come in for some training." Okay, showed up at the production office, and I'm like, "Where's everybody at?" I saw the casting director. I'm like, "Hey, where's everybody at?" And they're like, "Oh, they're on their way and stuff, but there's only going to be, they want you to be in this training video, you and a couple others." And as you saw, there was just a few of us. Ben Armstrong, I just seen him earlier this year at the Bigfoot conference. He and his wife were there, and it was so good to see him because I've not seen him in a bit. But he's one of the owners of Netherworld Haunted House in downtown Atlanta, and so they
Okay.
used that as a location for the movie as well. And
Oh, very
so
cool.
yeah, but he was our instructor for the training video. And Ben was also in the pilot episode of The Walking Dead as one of the zombies, as one of the walkers. So
All right. Well, nobody puts together a haunted house like folks in Atlanta, I tell you. Yeah. And then let's see here. Another video I've got is the Old Machine trailer.
yeah, and if you don't want to show the whole thing and you just want to skip over to where I'm at, I mean that's fine too. But that movie has Kevin Sorbo in it and Dee Wallace. Dee Wallace was the mother from E.T.
Okay.
And a lot of that was all filmed here in Georgia. The crazy thing about that is just about 95% or 97% of the movie was filmed up the road from me. And the scene I was in, I had to drive 2 hours for on all the way up to Cartersville, Georgia, and then White, Georgia, that area. So it's like, seriously, you're going to, you're all these scenes are filmed here. You couldn't find a motel here to use. So, but hey, it is what it is. But that was a cool movie to be a part of. The director and the producer drove to my house to audition me for
Oh,
that movie.
wow.
And they actually auditioned me for 2 separate roles. And so they decided that they wanted me to play this motel clerk and called Flo. And so they ended up being pretty cool.
Okay.
But yeah, it was really neat having the producer and director at my house. It was like, I can't believe this. Yeah.
Well, I'll actually go ahead and show the whole thing here, since that way it'll give context to what's going on. So
Cool.
let me go ahead and get this shared, and then we'll get to some of the questions here.
All right.
Oh, you got that what now? What now look on your face? Oh, God. Oh. Oh, the things that happen out here. Hey!
Somebody attacked you, and Kay's missing.
I've been staying upstairs since you've been in the hospital.
You don't remember me, but now you're back.
Well, you've had to deal with my sister is missing.
A demon. You're ready to stomp on. Just make sure you kill it.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'm jumping into this fast. If I don't even go out there and deal with it now, I will kill myself.
It's loaded.
Every whisper is a scream in this town.
We looked for the woman for a couple of weeks. Never did find her.
I'm not innocent.
Hey! I can see you! I want a name and address.
You really don't remember, do you?
I don't know!
He tried to kill me. I have no idea what you've done.
Life is the curse. Sleep the remission. Death is the cure. We're way beyond that point, son.
Couldn't give me a chance
1949,
to.
Porky Pig and Charlie
My
Dog
goodness.
cartoon.
That's funny.
Doesn't give me a chance to stop it before it gets to going.
Yeah.
So now, when did that one come out?
Gosh, it's probably been, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
But it did. It filmed, and it's kind of funny. My friend Atha Dalton, she's producer on it as well,
Okay.
and a lot of scenes filmed at her house and the house next door. It's kind of funny because a friend of mine had bought the house next door that was used in it, and I didn't. She told me, she said, "Hey, I got this new house, and it's up in Baldwin, Georgia, and blah blah blah." And she shows pictures of it, and I'm like, I know that house. That was used in this movie I was in. And she's like, what? And she didn't even know. So that was really cool. So, every time I go to that house, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Been here, but that's the first time my friend Ethan and I have met, and she's done a lot of cool stuff too. But it was a neat little movie to work on. Great script. So after some of the edits, the flow wasn't there, I don't think, like it should have been, but sometimes things happen like that. But I mean, you just really have to watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's just crazy. It was filmed. Most of it was filmed here, and I had to go 2 hours.
Well, and what's cool though is if people go and follow your Sonya Thompson fan page, they can see you constantly post like links to, because some of the movies people can watch on Tubi or watch for free, or if they're on YouTube or on different streaming services or wherever, you share a lot of that and people can see that. So I definitely suggest you all go and follow Sonya's fan page. And we've got the link there in the show notes. Is it just under Sonya Thompson, or is it Sonya Thompson?
I think it's Sonya Thompson 70 or S Thompson 70. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah. So
Instagram is like Red Sonya Thompson. I'm on Instagram. I like Instagram.
yeah.
I am on TikTok now.
I am too. I just never use it. I only use it to research conspiracy theories and all this. I go down so many rabbit holes. It's not even. I want to have a show on some of these conspiracy theories because that's the stuff that keeps me up at night, like just going down these rabbit holes. But guys, definitely go follow her. We've got the links there in the show notes, and you'll be glad you did because she posts some really great content on her pages. And I know you're working on some kind of personal stuff because I know you're really into history and you enjoy the paranormal, which that kind of segues us into talking a little bit about the paranormal. But I know you're doing some different projects that probably can't talk about just yet, but that are history related, and I can't wait till you put those out, your videos and such.
Yeah. I'm I've been trying to set up a platform as to how I want to do this, but I want to go from the small cities, well, not necessarily just small cities, but I want to hit like every town of Georgia and do like a little history type series on it. I've done a few already that I've put out there. But I still haven't decided how I want to format it yet. But I'm getting there. I'm still working on it. But I did this week join the two counties near me that I live in, and the one next door, Jackson County and Banks County Historical Societies. And yeah. So it's kind of cool. I was talking to the lady at the Banks County Historical Society today, and I was telling her that, at one time Jackson County was Clark County, which is Athens, Georgia, and the University of Georgia was actually built in Jackson County. And she didn't know that. So she asked me today to possibly come and be a speaker for the Historical Society meeting and talk about some of this stuff. So I'm kind of excited about that. So I'm already spinning in my head. I'm like, well, if I do this now, how am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? Gosh, I'm going to have it all written out. Oh my God. So I'm already like, fretting it, I guess, in a way, but at the same time, I'm excited about it because they actually want me to come and talk about some of the stuff because they didn't know about it, so it's pretty. I get pretty excited about history and stuff. That's the reason I like your jail. You
Oh,
know,
thank you.
and well, your little town that you're from is just really cool. You know, and united.
Lot of history, and it's funny you say that because we actually had on one of our Huntsville ghost walks, we had a girl from, or a lady that was part of our local historical society, and some of the things we were sharing there on our walk, she said the same thing. She was like, I work for the historical society, and I did not realize that. And so, it's always a cool feeling when someone tells you that because it makes you feel like it's like, you feel like you're doing something right. And that historical integrity is something that's so important to us. And, keeping that history alive, sharing those stories like you're doing, that truly does keep that history alive, and so I can't wait for your stuff to come out. Um, so just looking at the questions here, Bob says, Sonya, do you investigate the paranormal?
Oh, I do at times a little bit. It's more of a, well, I can't really say it's a hobby yet. I just kind of piddle a little bit with it. I've always been able to feel spirits. I'm an empath. I'm an intuitive. So I've seen things. I've heard things. And most recently, when I was up at Miranda's jail up there, her and Chris up there, it's like I heard a disembodied voice. To see, I've had phantom smells up there. I've heard jail cell doors opening and closing. And I'm like, oh my god, and so it's it's kind of crazy. Every time I go over there, it never disappoints me. But I do a little bit here and there. I mean, I've been on like a couple investigations and stuff, but not like long investigations, just
Yeah.
like an hour or two or whatever. And I've always enjoyed it. Jeremy's wife and I, we sat down there
Yeah.
in Alabama that time, and we didn't want to we didn't want to move this from the spot we were at because we were getting so much activity, and it was like, whoa, it's like we got to go downstairs now. Really, we want to stay right here, and so it's really hard. So she and I, we were already like talking about doing something else and maybe going swatching or something. I don't know, but but
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be interesting too. But yeah, I'm into it, and I guess I'd like, not I guess, but I do want to get it more into it because just hanging out with Christy and Miranda and Crystal and Carol and all these really awesome paranormal ladies and guys, it's like it's just really intriguing to hear their take on things and hear about their perspectives, and it's brought a whole new light to things for me, and which I appreciate you
Oh,
for being.
thank
You're
you.
you're so respectful to the ghost, and like you were mentioning earlier, you were talking about how you talk to the ghosts and stuff like that, and you treat them like they're still alive, and I think they appreciate that, and um I just think it's really cool that you do that. Your style of investigating is so remarkable. And
Yeah.
when you did the lives last year, it was so cool being a part of your investigation with you, being able to ask the questions. And I still go back to that daggum poker game that you had playing with the ghost, and I'm like, whoa, dude. I was like, how did these guys, they're responding. She's actually playing poker with ghosts right now with spirits. You know, and then that other cabin that you're in, we started asking, I was asking about if they made moonshine and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and the word beer came up, and
Mhm.
they were British. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
the English made beer? I never really thought, I always made more connections to the Irish or Scottish or, German, you know,
Mhm.
not so much as English and beer,
Yeah.
but I think that you're able to really find and define history,
Yeah.
and you're like when you're doing things, and other paranormal investigators too, you're actually, if you ask the right questions, you're going to get historical information,
Exactly.
and you're going
Exactly.
to get in these
Oh,
general questions, and then it's like, I don't know, I want to do that because I'm so into history. I'm very intrigued by that. Even the day when I was at the courthouse in Homer, I cut on my ghost out for the 5 minutes I was there,
Mhm.
and the word army came up. Well, just right up above me in the room above me, they have a lot of military items and uniforms and stuff hanging in a room up there in like the old judge's chamber, and it's that was just really fascinating to me. You know,
Yeah.
something really lines up and matches up to that area, and you're getting information like that. So I'm very fascinated about that, indeed. So I
Well,
hope
and
that
that's
was too
what
lengthy of a answer.
No, that's perfect. And that's what we always tell people at the jail and what I tell people in other places. If you're in a place where the spirits are aware of everything that's going on, because some places you're at, maybe they're not so much aware in that moment, but rather more of a residual. But if they're aware of what's going on, you can get some amazing answers, and you can get answers that talk about, like you said, telling you places to go or things to see. Like maybe you were supposed to go upstairs, where all of the army stuff was, or look for something in particular. We had a team, the one of the last teams that was investigating the jail. They actually started asking these questions, and somebody directed them to a specific article on the wall, started saying words in the article before they would read it. And they read a couple articles trying to figure out, and then ended up having a full on conversation with a relative of a person that was in the article that it was about, that had been murdered. And it was really cool because and it was just a different line of questioning, and it was very extremely intelligent. And
Mhm.
so being able to do that, I mean, yeah, people ghost hunt for different reasons or investigate for different reasons. And sometimes it's just a thrill factor of something to do. But other times you actually can put the pieces of a puzzle together based on information that these spirits are giving. And it's really pretty incredible when that happens.
And I love that. I mean, I just think that finding out stuff that I never knew before from somebody that lived it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they might not be living now, but they're able to, give answer questions and stuff. And I just about want like I think you should do this. You and Chris need to do this. You guys need to like come up with a book of questions. More
I
than
feel
just
like
these tasks.
we need to do that at times, because when we're doing these guided ghost hunts, it's amazing when you go on a guided ghost hunt. And sometimes it's with people that have gone, on multiple ghost hunts with us. But it's amazing how when you get in those situations, people won't ask questions, and
Mhm.
you're stuck. If you listen to some of our videos that we've recorded during the ghost hunts, we're asking all the questions, and I try to come up with ways to get people to interact, because this is their ghost hunt, right?
Yeah.
And I try to come up with ways to get people to interact, but sometimes maybe it's just in the moment and they just want to watch and they just want
Yeah.
to experience. And sometimes maybe they feel a little inadequate, but there are no stupid questions. I mean, even if you ask them if they like, peanut butter or something,
Yeah.
you never know who you're talking to. And you never know what kind of response you're going to get. And most of the time, when you just when you're not interrogating them about things that they're always interrogated about,
Mhm.
especially in a jail, asking all these questions, you can sometimes get responses when you're just sitting there having a conversation or enjoying yourself, kind of loosening up and lightening up. So sometimes I feel like writing a book about questions would be a good thing, because it would be kind of a guideline.
Yeah,
And I
you could say, excuse me, let me reference the book real quick. Yeah. It's
exactly. Well, and I got to say, thank you for mentioning the poker game. Brandon Shaman Sundays is on here, and we
Hey,
were
Brandon.
just talking about that, and the poker game was truly one of my favorite things that we did this past season. Um, we got to do a lot of cool places and a lot of cool experiments, but the poker game was very cool because it was timely for the location, where this accident had happened, and or not really accident, but incident had happened. And people can say what they want about the flashlights. That's always been a tool that I've really enjoyed. And I know there have been debunkers and stuff that put stuff out, but when you're getting these intelligent responses and literally playing a poker game with a flashlight that has been taken out of a bag, we've not been carrying it around with our bare hands, warming it up or anything like that. It was taken out of the bag and just set up in this pretty cold building. And to get these responses and to actually be able to almost feel and determine the personalities from these was pretty incredible. And I just really have no explanation for what we experienced other than something unexplained and supernatural. So
Yeah.
thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, that was really cool. I've told people about that one. I'm like, hey, you gotta go check this out. I'm like, go watch this video. It's really neat because that was really cool. But in about the questions and stuff, a lot of times I'm like, okay, I don't know what to ask now. I had on a ghost tour thing down in Tybee Island, earlier this year, and we were on the beach, had the spirit box out, and I'm holding it, and I'm like, only thing I can think of, did you come by boat? I mean, I was just like, I didn't know. I'm like, what do I say? What do I say? All of a sudden I'm put on the spot. I don't know what to say. And, and so it's like, but we got a yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I firmly believe, I think a lot of it is people maybe do feel intimidated or put on the spot is a good example. And that's why we like to keep the ghost hunts small, so that people don't feel like they're put on the spot. But, if you feel it, ask it, because when you get that response, and especially when it's a direct response, that's pretty freaking cool,
It was too. Everybody was like, yes, it was a male voice and said, yes, ma'am. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And then I think the next thing I had asked was, it was on down the beach a little bit, but I started having some stuff come up on my ghost app tool on my phone, and it's ghost hunting app is what it's called, I think. And something about sick or something, and I was just like, oh, did you die of some sort of illness or disease? And all of a sudden, smallpox. The voice was smallpox, and that was, the island was actually used for putting people there that were
almost like a
people.
quarantine type.
They were quarantine people to the island that had smallpox. So that was like, whoa. So that was pretty crazy. We had a lot of activity on Tybee in different areas and stuff, which was really neat. I'd like to go back and do that one again.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's such a historic and haunted place, so I would imagine that would be a very cool tour.
Yeah, I'd like to do it again. I think the next time I go down there, I'm probably gonna do another one.
Yeah.
It was neat. It was a lot of fun, and getting to find out some stuff about Tybee Island that I didn't know before as well. And some of the places that had burned down at one point. At one point on the tour, some stuff started coming up on, like the my app, and also some other gadgets that we had on the tour, and they actually pulled out the dowsing rods, which I thought was kind of cool because you do that. And so, which I do dowsing rods, but I don't use them that way. I use them for medicine wheels and stuff. But I need to learn your way. But yeah, so we were pulling those out and we started asking questions, and like the name David came up, and we asked if we were talking to David, and they crossed, and everything. And so come to find out, apparently he accidentally started the fires. Yeah.
Very cool.
So it was just really neat. It was really neat indeed. So I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued by everything that I've witnessed and experienced and continue to do. I want to be intrigued even more. So yeah, I think I'm gonna delve into it a little bit more. So
I love it. I love it. Now you do, and of course we're at the top of the hour, and so we're going to be wrapping up here very soon. So if anyone has any questions, please go ahead and get those last minute questions over here in the chat room. But you do a lot of different events. I know, we've kind of talked about, how this year we both have sort of stepped back a little bit from as many events as we were doing. But, I know if somebody wants to see you, you're very often at some of these different Bigfoot events and Comic Cons. And what's some of the different events that you've got coming up that you can put out there?
I really don't have a lot lined up. I do have Days of the Dead coming up in Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's the weekend of October 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, I believe. Or maybe 4th, 5th, 6th. Yeah, I guess that's it. So, I've I just really don't have a lot this year lined up. I mean, I just did a comic book store over the weekend, and, I honestly I'm sure some more stuff will come up and I'll have to make a decision at that point in time if I want to do it or not. But right now I'm kind of having fun playing on the weekends. Like I'm gonna be at Burgess Falls this weekend, paddling to the waterfall and playing in the waterfall and stuff. So, I'm just enjoying my weekends
I love it.
Yeah, and just doing some cool stuff. But I'm painting just so everybody knows, I have zombie elves on the shelves that are all hand painted by me. Their butts are signed and numbered, and I have zombie dolls as well, like porcelain dolls and stuff. And this is a one of a one here. She's like an Alice or something other, and her little arms move. Look, she'd almost be like I Dream of Jeannie, except a zombie. And her legs move. So this would be kind of cool to just kind of set her up, and have her do stuff. But and her head moves too, which is neat. But anyway, yeah, I hand paint zombie dolls now. That's something that has opened up for me. I'm an artist, so that's something that has opened up for me to do and sell those. All from being a zombie on TV and movies. So there you go.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. I think that is absolutely just perfect, because, we've worked a couple events where we've been, tables across from each other or whatever. And, I like following you when you're traveling to your events because you have a great table display that you do, lots of great different Sonya Thompson items, Walking Dead items, and then now the zombie dolls. I think that's so creative and cool, especially the fact that, you are such a talented artist. And I think that that's just very cool that you do that. So if people follow your page, they can see whenever you have these different, like the comic store that you did last week, they can see these events pop up that when you become a part of them, and you'll be announcing it on there, correct?
Absolutely. And, like I say, this year I've just kind of backed off a little bit. And I'm doing some here and there. I'm waiting on a couple of conventions to, get back with me. So I didn't want to mention any of those yet until I knew for sure. But just I'm just not pushing it. It's just
I
so
totally
nice.
understand, and that's what I'm saying. There's something kind of nice, and I mean, the conventions are fun, but they're a lot of work, and there's something that's been kind of nice about not having that responsibility, at least from my perspective.
I love my conventions. I love going to conventions. I love everybody I meet there. All my friends from the conventions, everything. And when I'm not doing them, honestly, I do get a little like, oh man, I wish I was at that one this weekend. Like Fanboys going on right now in Knoxville, I believe. And I'm like, man, gosh, I should just drive up there. But now I've already got something else going on. So, but I love being there. I love doing them. But at the same time, there's times that I just want to just be at the lake or on the river. And it's been refreshing. I think everybody needs a break sometimes. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I've just been breaking a little bit. I'll get back again soon. So.
I'm thinking next year is going to be a bigger year. For some reason, it's just this year for me personally, it's been very busy. and trying to focus on getting things, keeping it going with the jail and stuff, and all the expansions and everything. And so it's just been, because I work on the weekends and because conventions happen on the weekends, it's easy to get overbooked and overextended. And I know there was a while, it was like something every weekend. And it has been kind of nice to sort of have some space in between, and I guess work, because that's what I'm doing, is working on the weekends. But yeah, it's I totally get that. So you know, I've really enjoyed having you on tonight, and really enjoyed the questions that everyone has had in there. I appreciate you taking the time, Sonya.
Well, I appreciate you having me back on. I enjoy watching your podcast every week, and so to be back on it, it's like, yeah, cool, So I thank everybody for watching this watched, and all the great questions, and I appreciate each and every fan, because without the fans, we wouldn't have the shows. So
Absolutely.
keep watching things, and supporting, people and artists, and that way we can keep it entertaining, and doing the things that we like, because I'm a very passionate actress and artist, and so it's cool. But I thank you so much for having me on your show again. So really cool.
Absolutely. Anytime, Sonya, please, anytime you've got something going on that you want to announce and let everyone know about, please let me know, and we'll have you back on the show, because I just enjoy sitting there chatting with you. And, I thank you for watching. I know that, it's very common for me to be on the show, and you pop up in there, say hello, and interact with the rest of the people there in the comments. And for the ones that tune in every week, I can't thank you enough. It's always so cool to look over, see you, and see the comments there, because it is something, as a content creator, as a content creator, as an actor, an artist, with folks that are essentially, their passions are them, they're putting themselves out there. It is something that is a lot of work. And when people go on and watch, share, and just give that thumbs up, it really means a lot. So in a long-winded way, thank you all for choosing to spend your time here with us on a weekly basis. It really is appreciated. So
we appreciate you, girl. Keep doing good stuff.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And my computer or my internet seems to be freezing up. But we will be back next week at 9 p.m. Eastern, also at 7 p.m. Eastern, on the historic Scott County Jail page. We do have dates open this weekend for lantern tours and flashlight tours. We're booked with investigations, but we have some tickets for Friday's lantern tour at Historic Rugby, the downtown village. And then also for the jail, we still have a few tickets for Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we have tickets for both the jail and rugby for our flashlight and lantern tours. And then for the remainder of the year, the summer's getting pretty booked up on investigations. But if you're looking for somewhere to investigate during the fall and winter time, we do have some dates open, and we allow investigations Thursday through Sunday nights at the historic Scott County Jail, as well as historic rugby after dark. So you can go on to our page and you can find more information about that. If you visit historyhighwayshaunts.com, that will take you to our main page, and then you choose if you want to look at information on the jail or information on rugby. And we can get you set up for an investigation, a guided ghost hunt, or one of our lantern tours on there. So again, thank you all so much, and we will see you next week. Take care, everyone.